Christians. My friend here says, where did Yahweh graft the Gentiles into an absolved Mosaic law covenant while under the covenant of grace? I don't understand any part of that. First of all, the covenant of grace and the covenant of law weren't together. One supplanted the other. So, and you can't be grafted into an absolved Mosaic covenant. So I really don't know what direction you're going with this. If it's absolved, how can you be grafted into it? So what people are grafted into is the family of Israel, which became known under the term the church, under the new covenant. Ancient Israel, the ancient Israel believers, David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them and all of the New Testament saints, Paul, Peter, James, John, and all of us make up one body. And the Gentiles were grafted into the family of God by faith. But also, just like the historic Jews were, they were also come to faith in Christ, as we are told in Romans 4, when we learn about Abraham, that what he had by faith. Same with David, same with all of the other giants of faith in the Old Testament. Now, as for Gentiles, how far it went back, them coming in, it goes back to the beginning, basically. I mean, throughout the Old Testament era, we see examples of Gentiles who were brought into the household of faith. For instance, Ruth, Abigail, Bathsheba, and they were women, and they were brought into the household of faith. So bringing Gentiles into the fold became more predominant and became more perspicuous in the new covenant, which is what Christ was explaining when he said God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. He loved the world, not just Israel, but people of all nations, tongues, creeds, and ethnicities. So I don't know what you're talking about, this whole absolution of the Mosaic law covenant. The covenant of law was under the old covenant, and that covenant was supplanted by the covenant of grace. But they are all really one covenant of God's people. And that covenant is based on the promise of God and not on the law of God. Be provoked and be persuaded.